Now, just quickly, again, Bitcoin is slightly higher. I'll talk more about that in a few moments. Not really reacting to Israel's response to Iran. I'll talk about that in a moment. But I just want to show you the signals real fast. Again, the signals are amazing. The tops are being called here and here and here. And now we're getting it over here. I talked about that at the time. Now we're getting other confirmation sell signals. I'll talk about that in a moment. Look at the bottoms over here. Over here, major bottom right here, got the warning signs. Major bottom over here, got the warning signs and momentum. Major bottom over here with the higher low. And I talked about that at 52,000. Okay, momentum line turning bullish and all the rest of it, and the buy signal and the bottoming signal for momentum. Then we rallied up. I talked about, again, the T over here. I talked about the diversions and the pullback that was the indicators were predicting, not just here, but other indicators, like on the 4-hour chart, we got those negative diversions as I talked about. So anyways, these signals are amazing, okay? These are the signals that I use, okay? Now over here, again, we're bouncing off Bitcoin's average price. I told you I was looking for a move back up into the 68,000, 69,000 area. I told you we can hit 68,000, overthrow it, go to 69,000. And again, it's even possible we go to the resistance zone at 70, 71,000 if we get a false breakout. But my signals have been absolutely nailing it. I zoomed out because I wanted to show you how amazing the signals are. I've been talking about those signals back and forth as they happen over and over. Now, right here, and we talked about the bottom over here, and then the momentum line flipped. I told you we were either going to go parabolic or we were going to get a pullback. Never really got a pullback. We went, started to get a big move up and got a little one there. Not much, but just kept going. Here, again, we talked about a bigger pullback. Told you I still thought we'd go to 68,000. That was correct. The signals were right. Got the warning sign. Got the T a little bit early over here for the top, but then got the warning signs, the arrow, the circle, and again, eventually the momentum line flipped. We saw the bars turn to red, but then we tried to turn up here. It failed. Turned back to bearish here. You see the little red arrow, and then again, versions formed on some indicators. And I talked about it in the 4-hour time frame and some in the daily time frame, as I talked about. Now we've seen signals flip back to bullish. I talked about that. I told you, again, we're going to 68,000, maybe overthrow it and go to 69,000, possibly as high as 70, 71,000 to the resistance zone. But I don't think we're going to new highs. So again, those are the target levels. If we go to new highs, then I would change my opinion because my signals, which are correct, will change back to bullish, which you will see in this video. In the weekly time frame, they'll change back to bullish in the weekly time frame. And if they remain that way, then that's bullish. If they remain bearish, that's bearish. Don't care which way Bitcoin goes. Now, again, we had the warning sign. I told you about that the other day. We had the T, we had the circle, a warning of a top. Then we got right here, we got the warning of the sell signal, and then now we've had another one show up. Again, double whammy there, two of them back to back. Warning. So again, are we setting up now a lower high, or are we going to try to get a divergence? Momentum is bearish, the momentum line there, but the trend signals are still bullish, and we're still above that 200 period moving average. The cloud is still bullish. We bounced off of it here at this bottoming tail. Here, this line represents the short-term swing move, and we're bouncing off of it, and it's still bullish at this point. Momentum is bearish, but we have these warning signs. Do you see what I am looking at? Okay, this is telling me, hey, we are likely topping or have already topped. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? Now, again, zoomed out earlier to show you that how accurate these signals are over and over again. Even pullbacks like right here, and even the pullback here. We got the warning sign a little bit early, but other signals showed up validating that, and then the momentum line flipped right there. Again, I believe that a Bitcoin top is forming, whether that's with a lower high, as I said in my last update, or a higher high, we'll see. Okay, it could still form a divergence. These signals can show up, and then we can go a little bit higher, but then still have the move fail. They can be warning, hey, we're about to top, and we could still go higher. So don't dismiss the possibility of Bitcoin going a little bit higher or getting a false breakout. Could go up to the high 69,000 area. We hit the the mid 69,000 area, just under 69,500, go to the high 69,000 area, could go up into the 70,000 range, end up forming a divergence on the RSI, which I've been talking about. But the signals are warning you. I hope you're looking at them. They're warning, hey, something is getting ready to happen here. Okay? And it's likely the Bitcoin topping process is now coming to a conclusion. It's been going on, what now, 7-8 months or whatever, since March. Yeah, that'd be about 7 months there. So again, it's likely coming to a conclusion. My guess is we're going to have a downward resolution because recession is coming. Again, the people telling us that Bitcoin's in this new bull market are the people telling us we're not going to have a recession. Well, I have reliable recession indicators that haven't been wrong for decades, that are always right, telling us we're going to have a recession. So, people would rather believe their dreams rather than look at reality. And like I said, if Bitcoin gets an upward breakout and my signals turn all back to bullish, then again, we're either getting a false breakout or we're getting a legitimate breakout. Regardless, if a breakout's a breakout, it's going to be bullish unless the move fails. A downward resolution, we're going to go a whole lot lower. Everybody believes right now, just like they did back at the 2021 top, that there's no way Bitcoin's going down. All this distribution we've saw, that's just FUD. Told it wasn't going to happen. So I'm just telling you, you can see the warning signs as clear as I can right here. And maybe we go a little higher, maybe we sell off a little more and then go a little higher, but it could be, maybe we just start selling off. Maybe tensions in the Middle East start rattling the market. Maybe the stock market starts selling off sharply with earnings or something, or we get a post-presidential sell-off. The market has already priced in the presidential race. It's already rallied ahead of it. So here we have bars reflecting momentum, bearish. The momentum line bearish, and again, momentum signals here, bearish, and again, this is warning of a possible top. This is warning of a possible top right here. So we'll see what happens. Again, listen carefully. That doesn't mean Bitcoin can't form a divergence and go a little bit higher. That is still on the table. Zooming out right here so you can see the amazing signals. Again, bearish, bullish, over and over. Look at the bottoms, look at the tops. This is amazing stuff. Now, if we zoom in, take a look. Again, look at the bars reflecting the trend. They're still green at this point. Bitcoin, so far we've had Israel respond and begin their response to Iran, and Bitcoin is holding up great. So far, there's no volatility. We'll see if that changes, or again, do we get a relief rally? Do we start selling off with something else, or a delayed reaction to that? Maybe if tensions heat up, we'll see what happens. Okay, but now we're getting this pullback here. Again, still could form a divergence, but might be starting the reversal. If we form the divergence, momentum right here will begin to turn back up, and it'll form a divergence. Okay, we could see the same thing on other indicators like the MACD and the RSI, but momentum could do that. If it starts going negative, then again, we could just get a bigger sell-off. Like over here, it just starts going negative, but over here, again, it tipped us off to a pullback and a divergence formed. Bitcoin starts, and let me just say this, let me just bring this a little closer. The impulse line is still bearish. It's pointing downward. We'll see if that changes or if we get a bigger sell-off. Again, the trend signals, this line right here represents the short-term trend. The cloud, okay, is showing the short-term trend is bullish. Do we have a top right here, or do we go up a little bit higher and then try to top out with these signals? But they're warning, hey, something is getting ready to happen, whether a short-term pullback continues here or whether a top. We'll see what happens. A lot of different signals here. So again, good chance you're forming a top. We've had the momentum signals. We have the warning of a top here. And now we have signals of possibly a back-to-back top. You see the little X's there, warning of a possible top in this area or just a little higher. Sometimes that is the case. Bitcoin got the warning here, went a little bit higher and formed the divergence and did the reversal. So you can get an early warning sign sometimes. Other times you get it immediately. So again, we'll be watching to see how it unfolds here. Do we form a divergence on indicators like momentum and the MACD and the RSI and others, like that, or do we just start selling off immediately? So we'll see how it unfolds. I think Bitcoin is in a topping process. I do believe Bitcoin has already peaked at 73,000. I would change my mind if we get a legitimate breakout. Signals all begin to turn back to bullish. And again, I want to remind you that, again, my signals turn bullish back over here. Okay, after the selling pressures took place, the Moon Boys told us was never ever going to happen. Again, my signals turn back to bullish over here. They warned of a reversal here, a pullback, and then again I talked about the divergence. So you can even see it here with momentum. We got a divergence there. You had it on the 4-hour chart, and again, so again, I have been bullish through this whole move higher, except for this move, which I called correctly on this pullback, warning of it over here. Absolutely amazing signals. And again, what helped me do that was the 4-hour chart as well. Also calling this bottom, the 4-hour chart is absolutely amazing. Just quickly, Bitcoin is diverging with the S&P. The S&P in the lower window has moved to new highs. Bitcoin made a lower high. They're diverging. They have multiple points of divergence. That likely means Bitcoin's topping. That's happened at the tops, as I've talked about. A huge red flag for Bitcoin. Bitcoin could still form a divergence, or it could get a legitimate breakout if it starts clearing all these levels. Again, Bitcoin hasn't broken out because we're still, even if we include this line right here, we've just come up to this level right here. Okay, and again, if we exclude the shadows, then we have a slight breakout on extremely light volume. In my opinion, it has not broken out yet. And again, we could get a false breakout pushing above this level to suck in more people. That is certainly possible. We are forming a bearish rising wedge, very similar to what we have on the NASDAQ. Go watch my NASDAQ video at the end of this one. Now, I told you it might be that we see a divergence develop right here. We've had a divergence develop at these other peaks over here and back over here at this top. We've had bullish divergences at these bottoms right here and right there, excluding the shadows. See it again. We don't have to form a divergence, but we very well could see Bitcoin turn back up on the RSI, on momentum, on the MACD, and other indicators, and end up coming up here, and everybody go, it's a breakout, not move above 73,000, and get a fake out of this trend line, and then have the move fail and suck everybody in. I told you over here, we're going to get a short squeeze, okay? Even right here, I told you we're likely going to hit that 68,000 area. I kept saying it over and over and over. We could get a false move here, like we had a false move down here at the support level. We broke through it, but then, turned right back up. We could see something like that with a topping tail or some kind of just false breakout that quickly fails to get a diversion. So don't rule that out. I think it's still very possible. I predicted the rally. If things turn bullish, then I'll continue to remain bullish. Again, having called this whole move, well, the Moon Boys told us this was never going to happen. I told you the moves up and down were. So we'll see if a divergence develops on the RSI. And again, we've had the MACD roll over. We could see another divergence develop right in this recent price action if that takes place. Okay, but this is a Class B divergence. You have two equal peaks here, and price went higher. So again, will we get another reference point of a divergence? We'll see. Or do we just roll over and start moving down towards, again, if we drop further, do we start moving down towards this trend line and then try to bounce? We'll see what happens there. Again, this will be an important trend line if we continue to drop right there, excluding the shadow. So just some things I'm watching on Bitcoin. Break the trend line right here. It's at the 200 period moving average. A 100 is just below it. You start losing those levels, and Bitcoin's in serious trouble. Bitcoin follows the 100 period moving average. The 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, again, told you about the bullish divergence. So I predicted the rally after the pullback. And again, we had the bearish divergence. So you'll see it on the other chart, the bearish divergence. I don't have it marked on this one. But the little rising wedge here, we've broken down. And again, the 50 is still above the 200 here. We'll be watching that. But this divergence tipped me off to the sell-off. And again, it formed before the sell-off happened. I told you about that before it happened. So our chart has been absolutely incredible. Now, if we break the 200, we break the cloud, we move back towards the rising trend line on the daily chart that I showed you. If we can bounce off the cloud right here and get back up here above this level, then you can see a divergence develop on that RSI in the daily time frame. Another divergence, a triple divergence here form on the MACD and on momentum and other indicators. Again, I warned you about the sell-off. I warned you about the sell-off here with the negative divergences right there. I warned you about the sell-off with the negative divergence right there before it happened. And again, that was where, again, the warning signs were showing up as I told you. I talked about that at great length and detail, just like back over here. So again, as what I'm watching is, do we get something like this where we had the divergence, we sold up, but then we came back up and we kind of better defined it. Do we come back up here and maybe get a multiple point divergence kind of developing and come back up here, or do we just establish a lower high? Again, I still think a divergence is very possible. My guess is we're not moving to new highs, but I do think, again, you're going to top in the 68, 69,000 area, and if we go a little higher, you might go into the 70,000 range. Maybe the trend line right here takes you to that 70,000 area, and we'll see if we get a topping tail or something like that. But I'll be looking for a better defined divergence here. MACD right here is trying to roll over. So again, do we confirm a lower high and start seeing the bottom fall out of Bitcoin with tensions in the Middle East or some other catalyst? We get a sigh of relief rally and maybe form a divergence. The other possibility is a legitimate breakout. But like I said, my weekly signals have to turn back to bullish. You'll see that in this chart, in this video. Absolutely amazing signals. The bullish divergence bottom, they've been incredible. The bearish divergence tops, our chart continues to nail it. We're getting this larger divergence on pring parameter. And again, it may not be done yet. Maybe we get one right here in the most recent price action. And again, that's still possible. Don't rule that out. We start seeing pring parameter go negative. We start seeing a drop below the 200 period moving average. That's the black line right there. And the 50 drop back below it right here, which again, we're struggling at the 50. Then again, that's going to be very bearish. And then if we come back and take out these lows, that's going to put the final nail in the coffin for Bitcoin and taking out Bitcoin's average price. So again, just telling you what to watch for the bullish scenario, for the bearish scenario, resistance, and then support. Absolutely amazing signals, bottom, top, and again, the 4-hour chart continues to nail it like my daily chart. Support the channel with the link directly below. That allows me to be able to provide you this information. You like these signals, you like the charts, we know that. Rather than getting sponsors and trying to sell you stuff, I just ask that you partner with me. A lot of time and effort to do this. Let me know you want the YouTube channel to succeed by supporting the channel today. I need to hear from you in order to make it work. If you could take a moment to do that, I'd appreciate it. Again, just follow the link below to take you to a secured site. You could donate any amount you want. Thank you. Watch the video all the way through. And if you could take a moment and hit the like button, I would appreciate that. Well, we've had Israel respond to Iran's missile attack from October 1st. Bitcoin's been fairly quiet. We'll see what happens over the weekend. We'll see if this escalates. Does Iran respond? Do they respond immediately? And this is likely going to turn into a war over the next few months. So we'll be watching geopolitical issues. Sometimes impact markets. Sometimes they don't. Does the market breathe a sigh of relief after the weekend? We'll see what happens. And by the way, my next video will either be Sunday evening after the close, Bitcoin's close, or I'll post one Monday morning sometime. Try to do it Sunday evening after the close, and we'll see how we close the week out, and we'll see how Bitcoin performs over the weekend. Again, I just wanted to let you know, we went up, we overtook this trend line right here, excluding the shadows, but we hit this peak right here, and that's this trend line. And again, talked about this other trend line going back here, and again, including the shadows here, and that's where we came right up to, and we, whoops, that looks like my trend line moved on me. Let me fix that. Okay, well, anyways, we came right up to this level. Again, back over here, I was warning you, again, we were getting the bullish signals. I talked about it at the time. We got this 9 count. We went a little bit lower, and again, I told you we can back to the 200 for a test. I told you I thought we'd end up moving above it and going to the 68,000 area. Even when we came up here and we pulled back, I told you we were about to pull back before it happened. And again, stuck to my guns and said we were still going to go to 68,000 to area. I told you we could even get over it and go to 69,000, which we ended up doing. We've had all these tests. 69,000 is the peak in 2021. I think we could still even test this. Is what I'm watching for is, do we get a lower high right here, or do we get a higher high, a little higher high, and try to get a false breakout of this area? Going to be watching to see how it plays out. Now, if we clear this area, then that would be extremely bullish and flip the weekly signals back to bullish. That's what has to happen for a bull market for Bitcoin. And again, just as Bitcoin peaked back over in March, as I've said over and over and over. And again, I've called these moves back and forth with the indicators. And a lot of, we've had a lot of chop back and forth, and the swings have been great. Big swings down, big swings back up, likely coming to an end. We're going to get either a big move down to come back and take out the support zone, or we're going to get a big move up. I wanted to show you the 9 count. Again, that's played out very nicely as these other counts have marked turns, or you go a little bit higher, marks turns, counter trends. Again, here we marked warned of a peak, and we went a little bit higher. We could see something like that. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, it's showing price exhaustion. Here we got the 9 count if you look at it up close, and we went a little bit higher, and then we turn. We currently have a 6 of a 9 to the downside. Started a 1 with that price flip right there, dropping below the bar from 4 bars ago on the closing basis. So again, we'll be watching. Do we get a divergence and go back up on the RSI, or do we set up a lower high here and then now start a reversal? You do have, again, a possible head and shoulders pattern here that could set up, as I've talked about. Again, that if we come back to this area here at this, this 59, 60,000 area, or a little bit lower here on into the high 50,000 area, a little bit lower, but right in here about the 59,000 area, if we continue to drop, and then you have this possible pattern. We'll see what happens. Again, predicted the rally, predicted the sell-off, told you we were still going to go up here, and we'll see what happens. Now, if I see the RSI setting up a divergence and we go above this peak, we can go into the high 69,000 area. This was the mid 69,000 area, or we can go on up into, again, the resistance is 70 to 71,000 horizontal resistance zone. So those are the levels I'm watching if we get a false breakout but then turn back down. If we get a legitimate breakout, we got to clear these levels. And again, we're pulling back here off of the highs. I told you, again, it was highly probable at the 68, 69,000 area. And again, we very well may have peaked, and we may just have a lower high on our hands right here. And if that's all she wrote, we don't have to form a divergence on the RSI, but we very well could. Things that I'm being watched, and again, the moon boys and moon girls, boy, one of the moon girls, boy, she's in full panic mode right now. They keep telling us these pullbacks and these sell-offs, ever since March. At the moment, we have seen now Israel's response to Iran, so that's underway, and Bitcoin isn't having any kind of negative reaction to it. It's currently up 0.34%. So again, is there going to be a relief rally and maybe take us back up towards the upper Bollinger Band here? The military strike is supposed to last, according to U.S. Officials, it's supposed to be about 12 hours. By the time the stock market reopens on Monday, is there going to be a sigh of relief? What will Iran do? Will there be an immediate response? Will they wait a while, or so do tensions heat up immediately? We'll be watching this closely if it rattles markets at all. But right now, it's not with Bitcoin. Bitcoin did move down. The market moved down. Again, yields popping up. We had a rally in the market, and we got topping tails on the NASDAQ and S&P. Whether they're going to play out or not, who knows? We'll see. The stock market is still holding above the 20-period moving averages, with NASDAQ and S&P The Bitcoin price is holding above the 20 period here, but we've lost the 10. So again, we'll be watching. Do we get some type of divergence and go up into the high 69,000 into 70,000 range, or we're into the resistance zone 70, 71,000, we get a lower high and start turning down. But if we can break through these levels, that would be bullish. And again, flip the weekly signals. Now, let me just say this. We've had 9 attempts now with this recent attempt here to get above 69,000. 9 attempts to clear 69,000. It's failed every single time since March. Every single time. You have NASDAQ, or I'm sorry, now you have S&P and the Bitcoin daily chart diverging from one another, which is a sign of a top. So watching to see, do we set up a head and shoulders here? What happens? Do we end up dropping back below the 200? Now, I told you before, I thought the 50 would stay below the 200 period. I'm probably going to be wrong about that because I thought this move right here would happen sooner and then fail. This has taken longer, but even though it's taken longer, again, I was able to predict this sell-off before it happened. And then the rally back up here, I told you we were going to probably go to a new low and form a divergence on the 4-hour chart. That did happen. And I told you we bounced around the 50 and the 100 period moving average. Let me flip charts so you can see that. But before I do, let me just say this. Bitcoin was down on the Friday session. Bitcoin was down 2.31%. It was down over 3% at the lows there. But we rebounded off those lows, but down 2.31%. And then right now it's up 0.44% at the moment that I'm making the video. And we're about just over 4 hours into the session for Saturday, so which is currently up 0.44%. No negative reaction, no huge amount of volatility. It may. As we get more details, that may still happen, but we need to be watching. Right now, it's not. Is this the calm before the storm, or do we get a breath of relief, a sigh of relief? Watching to see what happens. Now, again, the bullish cross, just like over here, this bearish cross. When you go sideways, the crosses can mark tops and bottoms. When you trend, then that's when again. Larger trending moves. Here, as we got the death cross, we bottomed out at that time. And let me just fix this so you can see it here. We bottomed out right at the time of that death cross. Do you see that? We bottomed out right before the death cross happened. We could see something similar to that if we get a bullish cross here, if the sideways price action continues. Been in a trading range, a 73,000 area down to this 49,000 area here. Bitcoin lost about 33%. Now, here is the daily chart, and here again, just wanted to show you the 100 period moving average. We have again the 50 is a green line, the black line is a 200 period, and again we could see a bullish cross, so they can get a bullish cross real fast and then quickly turn back down. It may be something like this, but we're going to be watching as the bulls and bears fight it out. And again, I told you what has to happen to be bullish. Got a clear resistance, flip the weekly signals to bullish. What has to happen for the bears to get a trending move down? We got to come down. You got to take out your 200. You got to take out the 100 and the 50. Got to drop below these levels, the 100 period moving average, and come back here and take out Bitcoin's average price. And in doing so, you got to take out the support zone. You got to take out the support zone, which is right here, which is this low at 52,000 and this low at 49,000. So that is the support zone. Well, am I cutting that off? Sorry about that. I didn't get the whole thing on there. Let me do that again. The 52,000 area to the 49,000 area is the support zone. So if we start coming back down, losing the 100, losing the 200, then again, if you lose this level right here and come back and take out these levels, that's the final nail in the coffin for Bitcoin should that happen. If we clear the resistance levels, then that would be extremely bullish. And again, the signals have to remain bullish, and then we got to get above 69,000 and never drop back below it again for the duration of the bull market. The bearish scenario, the bullish scenario, as the bulls and bears fight it out.